all things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
But more than that, I think it's a strategy that's going to backfire. You know, the majority of Americans, women, know what this feels like. To do everything you can to get your credentials, college education, advanced degrees, and no matter what you do, people say you're not enough or that you don't belong in that room. And so here's Kamala Harris, one of the most accomplished people ever to run for president of the United States. She was a district attorney, elected twice statewide in California, which is bigger than most countries in the world. She became a senator, served here nobly and ably, and distinguished herself. She was a vice president for 4 years and helped usher in some of the greatest legislative achievements of any kind of White House. And now there are people that aren't worthy to sit at the same table with her, really trying to demean and degrade her. Well, to me, we don't need leadership in this country anymore that demeans and degrades other Americans, Republican, Democrat, or independent. Have your policy disagreements, but to attack people in such a heinous personal way shows more about who you are than who you're talking about.
Right, it does. And, you know, the slogan for, Trump ought to be, it's the racism, stupid, right? I mean, it's so degrading. It's so ugly what they do. It's so base and it's so old. It's just because they're panicking. There's panic in the disco. You know, Donald Trump wants to keep on dancing to the Village People, you know, doing his little white man's overbite thing. And here you have a whole new day, a whole new era in politics that is beginning. It is actually it's an embryo. They ought to love it. It's an embryo. It's not even in its infancy yet. It's still germinating. It's still gestating. It's still in utero. It's like a Nirvana album. But I mean, honestly, Biden is going to give a speech tonight from the Oval, and he is going to show you what a man, what a mighty good man. Yes, he is. I want to take a minute or two and give much respect to a man who made a difference in my world. I swear to God, what a man, what a man. He's going to, address us tonight from the Oval Office, and he is going to show you what Hillary Clinton called today in the New York Times in an op-ed piece she wrote, a pure an act. That's it. As pure an act of patriotism as I have seen in my lifetime. That's what Hillary Clinton wrote. She said, history has its eye on us. President Biden's decision to end his campaign was as pure an act of patriotism as I have seen in my lifetime. It should also be a call to action for the rest of us to continue the fight for the soul of our nation. The next 15 weeks, God, I love this. 15 weeks will be like nothing this country has ever experienced politically, but have no doubt, this is a race the Democrats can and must win. And I totally agree. We can and we must and we can. That's the crazy. There are more paths now to victory than we had before. Now, it is going to be, white boy day for a while because, listen, the idea that she couldn't possibly pick a Cory Booker, that she couldn't possibly pick a Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, too diverse, too much, too soon, everybody. America can't handle, America can't do. It's too frightening, too scary. I don't buy that. I really don't. But the memes on the internet do. I've seen some of them are just, listen, they're funny because they're true. So one of the memes I saw was Kamala Harris and a saltine cracker. It said, this is the ticket. I mean, then one guy, whoever did this, somebody who was so brilliant, it just blows my mind. So, because this is white boy summer where we have to pick a white boy to be her running mate because you can't have too much estrogen in the room. That just freaks out the voting boys, right? The people who show up who have testosterone running through their veins, or at least, the little blue pill, something running through their veins that makes them feel like a man, what a mighty good man. And you can't peeve them. You can't get under their skin too much with too much estrogen on the ticket, right? Can't have that. So we need a boy. And then because she is the progeny of a Jamaican father, and an Indian mother. Oh, I bet the food in her house is so freaking good. We have to have a white boy on the ticket. We have to have. So somebody went down into the wine aisle in some grocery store. I don't know if it was Kroger's or Publix or Winn-Dixie or whatever, or Piggly Wiggly for all I know. But they went down the wine aisle and they took a picture of the sign that said "Exciting Whites" and said Kamala's VP options. It said "Exciting Whites." I mean, it's funny because it's true. It's sad, but it's true. It really is. And so, I was telling Brett, it looks like it's going to be White Boy Day soon. He goes, every day is White Boy Day. What did you say? It's White Boy Decade? Or
Yeah, it's going to be White Boy Decade. No, I think it's a White Boy Century.
Century. That's what he says. White Boy Century. It's like, oh, you poor guy.
We're closing in.
All right. Well, meanwhile, I'm being pilloried because they invited the war criminal from Yisrael over to speak to the Congress. Most people didn't even remember that he was coming today. They didn't even know. I mean, the people in Congress, a lot of people boycotted. I would have not gone to. I remember I walked out on W. I was at the State of the Union speech. I was an invited guest back in those days. To the State of the Union, the Axis of Evil one. Some people who have been with me all these years, you know that story. I won't tell the whole thing. But when he got to the axis of these states or states like these, they make up an axis of evil. I was like, I'm out. Because I was anti, the Iraq war made no sense to me. None of it made any sense. Anything that they were doing made no sense. But they were a dynasty, The Republican Party, the party of meritocracy. With their Bush dynasty. They're a party of merit. So I walked out on that. And you know what? I would have not gone to see a war criminal address our joint session of Congress today. I would not have been there. That would be my decision not to go. A lot of people made that decision as well. AOC didn't go. Kamala didn't go. And they're mocking her, they're mocking her. They're pillorying her, saying, how could you have the leader of a state come to visit and she's not even willing to sit there and listen to him? Well, your candidates aren't there either. J.D. Vance, last I checked, is still a senator in his very first term. I mean, I think he's only done 2 years. He's not there. He didn't go. Interesting, huh? When you know facts, how all their insults just seem to vanish, poof, go away. Yeah, she's in Indiana doing a thing. I don't know where he is, but he's not there today either. Bernie didn't go, thank God. Patty Murray from Washington State, your senator in Washington State, she didn't go. Illinois, Dick Durbin, your senator, he did not show up. He did not go. Jim Clyburn of South Carolina and one of the most important House members in the Congressional Black Caucus, he didn't go. Ilhan Omar, she didn't go. She gave her ticket to a hostage family, which I thought was brilliant. AOC didn't go. Dan Kildee didn't go. Chris Van Hollen, he said, I refuse to be a political prop in this act of deception because he's not the great guardian of the U.S.-Israel relationship. True that. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.